In this video, I'm going to share some information about Royal Caribbean cabin categories and how well they will work with a scooter or wheelchair. Coming right up. This cabin is cabin 8335. It is a standard inside cabin. It's located on deck 8 aft of the aft elevator, and it's like the next cabin back. It is, as I mentioned, a standard inside cabin. It's not accessible, but it had plenty of space in the cabin for a wheelchair or a scooter. I don't know that you'd be comfortable with both in the cabin, but if you had one or the other, it had a lot of room. Now, it potentially could sleep 4 people. With 4 people in it, I don't think it would work as well with a scooter or a wheelchair in there, but for 2 people, it's fine. The only option that really makes it not an accessible cabin is the fact that the shower is a stand-up shower with no shower stool. Also, there is a small lip to get into the bathroom and a small lip to get into the shower. And your closets don't have the pull-down rods. But other than that, you're not really missing anything that would be in a standard inside accessible cabin. Both cabins only have 2 outlets, which means that for us, we carry an extension cord with multiple outlets so that we can charge all of the devices. Plus, I travel with a CPAP, so we need that. And the 2 outlets is pretty standard for most of the rooms. We thought this was a very nice inside cabin. One thing that really impressed me on the Adventure of the Seas was the fact that the hallways were wide enough that you could navigate them with a scooter, even if there's carts in the way. A little later, we did have to reposition one cart in our journey, but for the most part, we never had to worry about the carts. We just went by them. And that's not characteristic on a lot of the cruise ships we've sailed on, because in many cases what happens is if there's a cart in the way, then you wind up backing up or moving the cart so that you can get by. Like I said, in this case, it was very simple to go by. This is cabin 8311 that we're getting ready to go into. And it's a promenade view inside cabin. So you have a window on an inside cabin that looks out over the promenade, and that was very nice. But what I will say is that it was not accessible with a scooter. You can see that the bed is positioned very close to the entryway, and there was not space to pull the scooter in and turn it around. So my wife's backing out. We're going to go in and take a look at the room, though. And I would say this about the room is that if you had some mobility and you're traveling with a wheelchair that collapses, you could collapse the wheelchair, get it around the bed probably, and then would have plenty of space. Because the cabin is very spacious, but because they have the view out over the promenade, they put the sitting area there. Like I said, it was a very nice cabin, and if you don't need mobility, it's a great place to stay on the ship. The bathroom is a standard non-accessible bathroom, so you have the stand-up shower and a small lip to get in and out. The closet wouldn't have the pull-down rack. Our next cabin is cabin 8554. This is a standard balcony cabin, and again, this would work fine with a wheelchair or a scooter. The exception being is you would not be able to get the wheelchair or the scooter on the balcony, really. It's just not set up for that. It's a very nice cabin. Again, if you have some mobility and don't need the wheelchair or scooter all the time, you could put your scooter in the cabin and it would work okay. If you need the scooter or the wheelchair all the time, then it's not your best choice. This room also would sleep 4. That's what he was demonstrating, is a pull-down bed. That again obviously would complicate the ability to put a scooter or a wheelchair in the cabin. In another video, we'll tour our balcony, which was an accessible balcony cabin. This is cabin 9502. Its category is spacious ocean view. And it's about 211 square feet, so about 30% larger than the cabins we've looked at previously. It has lots of room. It would work with a scooter and or a wheelchair. You have a really interesting view out the window here because you basically look down on the helipad on the ship. And you're very far forward, and you're basically looking right off the bow there. It's a gorgeous cabin. The limitation would be in the shower. You'd have the lip to the bathroom and the lip into the shower. And you would not have the pull-down rod. But as we look around the room, what you see is it's just a ton of room. A very, very nice room. And it's one that he said was very, very popular on the ship. I can understand why. This is cabin 9551. It's an accessible inside cabin. So you have the space associated with a accessible cabin. It's just inside. Plenty of room for a scooter and a wheelchair to be in the room, to be able to navigate around. As we look in the shower, you'll see that this has the roll-in shower, which is what you'd expect of an accessible room. Like I said, the one thing I would say about all of their accessible rooms is they worked really well. One thing that I found different than my previous experience is that they have a lot of storage, more drawers and more shelves in the closet than I'm used to on other cruise lines. So we never even used all of our space. This cabin's approximately 256 square feet, so significantly larger than the non-accessible version. This is cabin 1102. It's a non-accessible junior suite. And it's interesting that it has plenty of space. This cabin has about 277 square foot of space and about 50 square foot of balcony space. So the cabin was plenty large enough. Obviously, as you move up to a junior suite, you have more in the way of amenities. The challenge in this cabin for someone that had limited mobility is that it has a bathtub instead of a shower. So again, if you could get around without a wheelchair or, and you had enough mobility to step into the bathtub, it would work fine. But for a lot of people that do travel with scooters, that lip into the bathtub or the step up into the bathtub would be more than they could deal with. But it is a gorgeous cabin. There is an accessible version. It was just occupied, so we couldn't tour it. A ton of space on the balcony. Just overall a gorgeous cabin, just not a very accessible one. As we look around, you can see there's just so much space in this cabin. And my wife's getting ready to head out. Oh, one thing that I didn't mention, this cabin does have basically almost a walk-in closet, or maybe it isn't a walk-in closet, with lots of shelves and storage space. Again, a very nice cabin, beautiful. It's just not, that bathtub makes it a real challenge if you have some mobility issues. This is cabin 1814. It's a panoramic ocean view cabin. And again, this cabin has lots of space. It actually has 283 square foot of space. It has a great view. No balcony, but with the view you have, it's almost as good as a balcony. It is an accessible cabin, and situated on the bow side of the ship, just kind of on the corner as the curves from being facing forward to facing to the side. So you have a little bit of a wedge shape to the room, but it gives you a ton of space. It's absolutely gorgeous, and like I said, it's an accessible cabin. So it's it might have been my favorite cabin of all the ones that we toured this day. Like I said, it doesn't have a balcony, but that view is just incredible. It really has a better view where that is located, because you can see forward, you can see off to the side, and you have such a great big window. So I would say it had a better view than my balcony. You just couldn't hear the ocean. So you take some trade-offs. But overall, this is a gorgeous cabin, and one that anybody that books it would be quite happy with, I'm sure. And like I said, this was an accessible cabin. If you got value out of this video, do me 2 favors. Hit the subscribe button and the notify button. That'll let you know when I create my next video. And then hit the like button. That lets YouTube know the content was worthwhile. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.